Out of all the years, 2020 had to be the one where things just went wild. But enough about the year, let's talk about the games. So actually, despite all the crap we went through this year, there were wonderful and exciting moments in gaming this year. The next generation of consoles released, record-breaking sales of games were happening, also users on Steam and Xbox and all those were through the roof. VR made a bigger wave with consumers after Half-Life finally releasing another game. Cyberpunk 2077 kind of got released in some way that I would say is a release.
Oh yeah, it's all coming together.
Even for me personally, my YouTube, Twitch, Discord, everything's been growing really well and it's been, a fantastic time. So with all these achievements in gaming this year, I present to you my top 10 video games I played this year. Number 10. A Plague Tale: Innocence. So despite us going through an actual plague and pandemic this year, I played through this game early February and I was actually very surprised about the quality of the game. The visuals in the game were absolutely stunning and terrifying to go through as you climbed over mountains of dead, decayed bodies, ravaged by the Black Plague. The chase scenes in the game were also super intense as you ran away from so many people, though the combat for me was a bit goofy in the game. So for the majority of the game, your best weapon is a rock and a sling in which you can just sling it at people and just hit them in the face, like pop, pop, pop. And that's pretty much it for the combat. You get to throw some other things later on too, but it's really just that, and it kind of feels goofy and highly repetitive. Also, you had to drag your whiny, ungrateful brother the entire time.
I am not stupid! Don't shout!
Who was pretty annoying for a lot of the scenes.
I want to see
Mommy is dead, Hugo! You'll never see her again!
Minor spoilers if you haven't actually played the ending. The ending was actually ridiculous as well, because there ended up being sort of a rat race war happening between the black rats and the white rats. And you beat the final boss by throwing a rock at his face, which again, it's kind of ridiculous. But overall, still a great game, very fun to play, and I'm actually very excited for the sequel whenever that comes out. Number 9. Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout. What a great concept, guys. You all, as developers, really hit it out of the park with this one. Take a battle royale and make it fun. Similar in concepts to TV shows like Wipeout, Fall Guys is just a blast to play and losing doesn't even feel bad. I love the game, but honestly the constant server issues at launch and lack of enough content going into rotation makes this game a little bit lower on my list, but I'm very impressed about what they're putting out, especially in Season 3, and hopefully it continues to be just an amazing game all around.
What the?
Number 8. Phasmophobia. Y'all want to get spooked? I loved Phasmophobia for many reasons, one of them being able to play crossplay with VR headsets. It's so neat to be able to play in VR alongside friends that don't have VR, and I feel that's just a great implementation of that feature. Looking for clues and trying to snap ghostly figures on camera has never been better, especially with the addition of it being in VR, which I only play VR. Desktop is not as fun. I only wish for this game that we could actually hunt and eliminate the ghosts and not just find clues about which ghosts they are. If it had that feature to actually hunt the ghosts, I feel like this game would have been really, really perfect for a ghost hunting genre. Number 7. Watch Dogs 2. Watch Dogs 2 was honestly such a surprisingly enjoyable game. Being a minor fan of the first one, Watch Dogs 2 was far superior than its predecessor. The missions and overall story were okay at most, but what really sold me was the setting. Having visited San Francisco recently and being able to explore the city in a virtual game during a quarantine was such a huge enjoyment for me. The game was only made infinitely better by making it co-op, but I just wish the majority of the game was able to be played in co-op. Going around the city with my cousin was just a blast, and we had such a grand experience, being tourists in San Francisco and seeing all the stuff we've seen in real life before. I just wish we could have actually played the story together. Number 6. Spider-Man Miles Morales. As a follow-up to the Spider-Man PS4 game, Miles Morales was actually a really great addition to the series. Albeit a bit short, the game was a joy to play and it made you feel like you were a person playing a video game. The overall story, to me, was a bit comical, and the main villain who wants to poison people just to make money and rule the world was very comic book-like and totally exaggerated.
That smells like money.
Why do you want to destroy the world? Money. Money and power. But, it was also a very heartfelt story between family and super friends. Overall, a great game visually, even though it did have some stutters since I was playing on the base PS4.
Oh my god.
I would love to play it on the PS5 if I ever got that, but anyway. Number 5. Half-Life Alyx. Half-Life is back, baby! Half-Life Alyx was the most polished, fully fleshed VR game that we have all been waiting for, and Valve did an amazing job making it. As a return to the Half-Life series, it was great to see so many familiar faces in a VR space, and the gameplay was fluid and exciting, especially the shootouts. The music was also banging throughout. Some of the puzzles were a bit frustrating, especially having to do the similar puzzle 19 other times to unlock the same items, but overall the flow of the game was great. I do wish that they had some sort of melee combat, as I know Valve would have done a great job with that. Melee combat is another reason why I love Boneworks and The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners. I haven't finished those yet, but Half-Life Alyx would have thrived having some way of punching the Combine as well as shooting them. Also, the ending was a wild experience. That was a really fun time. Hats off to you, Valve. Make more games. Number 4. Paper Mario: The Origami King. Paper Mario is one of my favorite game series, and when a new one was announced for the Switch, I was extremely excited. The Origami King is filled with vibrant locations, gorgeous designs, and hilarious moments that it was a joy to play the whole way through. From going to Shogun World Amusement Park to exploring the Dark Desert, each part of the game is iconic. The only downfall of the game is the combat, and honestly, the combat is an improvement from some of the other games, but the gameplay of the first and second Paper Mario were the best, in my opinion, and it's just sad that the game doesn't follow that same formula. Boss fights are really fun in this game, though. Number 3. Among Us. So, we all knew this was coming in one way or another.
Good grief, he's naked!
If you're new to this channel, I'd recommend watching my Among Us series. That series, and a movie, has single-handedly given me any sort of career with these videos. On top of that, it's a super fun game to play and extremely accessible. I found myself playing this game with people who typically don't play games or just have never played games before in their lives. Among Us has brought so many people together to tear their friendships apart, and I'm so happy to see such a simple, great concept gain so much love and excitement. I'm excited to see what they do next with the game, especially following this 4th upcoming airship map, and I'm just excited for the future of the Among Us game. Number 2. The Last of Us Part 2. No, wait, before you... Let me explain. The Last of Us is a beloved story about 2 main characters, Joel and Ellie. The game was groundbreaking in visual, vocal, and motion capture performances.
Raped and murdered.
It's not for you to decide!
And people loved the story. Spoiler if you haven't played the first Last of Us. In the end, it follows Joel, who stops Ellie from giving her life and immunity to hopefully help cure the virus. Man, there's a lot of games about viruses. Joel ends up murdering many people, including Abby's dad, to which Abby goes and kills Joel. With that said, The Last of Us 2 is a story about grief and the acceptance of loss. It is a poignant story about losing a loved one and the regret of not allowing yourself to get that chance to spend time and forgive them for who they are. It's also the story about acceptance, understanding that people are complex, and that no matter what, the hate we hold for others leaves us stranded and makes us lose more than what we've already lost. That being said, the story was told through a disjointed method to which I feel would have been more impactful to see Abby's story play out before discovering all her friends are dead. Also, finishing the game left me with such a weird lackluster feeling, but months down the line, upon reflection and analysis of the game, it has actually impacted me in more ways, challenging my ideals and the way I looked at the game. I still do believe that the way the game presented was flawed and could have made a stronger impact on players, but it itself was an amazing game. On top of that, the visuals, the music, and the actual gameplay were just a huge blast to play. There's so much to this game that no matter how long you talk about it, there's just more to uncover.
Jesus Christ, Joe.
Number 1. Hades. So, welcome to number 1, everyone. Hades is a fantastic game by indie studio developer Supergiant Games. Hades follows the story of Zagreus, the son of Hades, on his journey to escape hell. As a roguelike game, every run out of hell will be randomized, including what benefits you get along the way. One thing I love about Supergiant Games is that their art and music is always world class, and throughout all Supergiant games, I constantly find myself coming back to listen to the soundtracks and continue to play their games, and Hades has been my favorite one of them all. So much so that I made a whole video to dedicate to it, which you should probably check out. So there you have it, everyone. My top 10 games of 2020. Let me know what you think about this list. Please feel free to comment your opinions. Let me know what your top 10 games were for 2020. Make sure you stick around to this channel. Again, I'm going to have newer content, always releasing more content here and there, and especially more to look forward to in 2021. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.